remember we met.
Hey, what's up? This is Overcoming One or Overcomer One Hicks. How you guys doing out there? Listen, I have another segment for you. I want to share some personal things about my life. And as we move forward in these videos, my goal or objective is to share personal details about my journey, my personal struggles, my history, as well as if you have any, I don't know, if you have any concerns or if you have any questions or if you have anything you'd like to share about your personal journey, please feel free. And if you like any of these posts, please feel free to hit like or share. Again, that's Overcomer One Hicks. So before I start today, I want to share, well, as I begin today, I want to share a few things with you about my life. And again, my videos will basically consist of information that I can share with you, or I will share with you about my personal life, how I grew up, how I was raised, my personal struggles, and hopefully through my struggles and through my pain, I can be a positive influence in your life, and I can be an encouragement to you. So years ago, well, I say years, I mean many years ago, I was a ward of the state that I was living in. So I was given up for adoption, and at birth, actually, my mom and dad had given me up for adoption, and I was raised in an adoption home as a baby. The first, well, I was actually from birth throughout up until I'd say about 8 or 9, I was a ward of state. I was, in different adoption agent homes under one adoption agency, but I stayed in different homes up until I'd say about the age of 8 or 9, and then I was adopted by a lady who was my permanent, who became my permanent mom as far as adoption is concerned. But my purpose for these videos is we'll be discussing a lot, or I'll be discussing with you a lot about my personal struggles, my life, my history. It'll be a lot of graphic details. It's really personal, but I decided to start this YouTube channel because, and as I say this, I have my struggles. I'm still battling with some personal psychological issues, some from what I experienced through those years of the one particular home that I stayed in. But I'm doing these videos as a sort of I would say therapy. Although I have had plenty of therapy sessions. I've sat through psychiatrists, psychologists, and so forth. This for me is an outlet, and also not only that, but it is to share with you, or if I can share or help someone who may have experienced the same situation or the same things that I went through. And again, if it's something that you're interested in with my channel, you feel that it encourages you, please, hit like, and and my goal is every week is to send an updated video out or something to encourage you. Sometimes they may be, I don't know, 10 minutes. Sometimes they may be 5 minutes, but I just want to keep in contact with you and share my knowledge. But again, I was a ward of the state. From birth, my mom and dad gave me up. They had to give me up at birth, and I was in homes, adoption homes, for a few years until maybe my, I guess, second or third birthday. And I was then adopted by a couple, and I was there for I stayed in their home for about 5 or 6 years. One thing about, and for those that have been adopted or experienced being adopted, or even parents who've adopted children, one thing that when I finally met my parents, I will talk about that another time, but one thing that my biological parents told me or shared with me is they thought that I was in some rich house, big house, educated, well-to-do, and that was not the case at all. It was a totally direct opposite of what they had envisioned for me once they gave me up for adoption. And that can be one of a parent's worst nightmare. So there was a couple that adopted me. Again, I stayed there for the first 8 years. And during those 8 years, I was tortured, I was neglected, malnourished, and during those 8 years, I was taken out of the home. Someone would complain, a neighbor would see the abuse or hear, screams or whatever from the home and report the abuse. The state would come out, take me away for a couple of days, and then return me back to the same home. This went on for about 8 years of my life. What's up, something good? So that's the gist of it. I mean, it was rough. It was tough. It's something. I'm in my mid 40s right now, and it's something that I still have not gotten over, or I'm still struggling with. It's a challenge. Every day that I wake up, there is a challenge to maintain. There was just to keep my head straight, keep focused or stay focused on just life, just what I need to do on a daily basis. It was so tragic, and like I previously said, I will go into specific detail about what happened or what I experienced. Now, it's I'm a work in progress. Let's put it like that. I'm a work in progress, but that's why I say in my YouTube name or whatever is Overcomer 1, because I overcame, and I feel like I'm number 1. And no matter what you go through, no matter whatever struggles you have in life or obstacles, you too can be an overcomer. The simple fact, it happened to you, but if you have endured and you are alive today to talk about it, and possibly you learned, you too are overcomer. So again, that's my story. Years later, I was taken out of the home, and again, it was about 8 years later, 7, 8 years later, and it was because of the school I was attending at the time, the elementary school. They had been notating the abuse. And it was reported to child services, and the parent, the mother that I was of the couple, the couple that I was living with, she literally, gave up her rights of guardianship over me. Summer, it's my dog. Come on. And the state, that's when they finally had taken me out of the home. But at that point, I was psychologically damaged. I was mentally damaged. I had suffered mental and physical and some sexual abuse. And, by anyone's standard, it was at that time, it was too little too late. But, thank God that I was able to escape with my life. Because there was times in that situation living in that home, I literally thought I was going to die. And it's not a good place for a young boy to be in. The state never, apologized, never tried to find out if I was okay. They never checked on my existence after the fact. Never tried to seek me out, never supported me as far as getting counseling, help, therapy, of any of that nature. It was like I had not existed any longer. So, you can imagine just the years of just being bitter and angry. And I'm still struggling with that. And although I was removed from the home and the psychological, mental, and sexual, physical abuse, it's still the mental anguish still continues. The mental pain still continues. Anytime a person, you can suffer from a physical injury or hurt, but a psychological, pain, it's hard to escape that. You can have that pain can be there for years, and that's primarily what happens to people who do not get the proper help or medication. What happens is they still have that mental anguish or mental pain or whatever, and they fall into depression, anxiety, and so forth, which I experienced that also. Again, I take it day by day, step by step. And for the last 5 years, I decided to basically take my life back. And I started to take my life back. And the reason why I had to take my life back is because everyone had their hand in my life. Everyone made decisions, from the state, from the attorneys, from the city, the court system. They were making decisions about my well-being. And even once I was even taken out of that situation with the state and the court and the child services, again, the effects of all the dramatic situations that happened to me, and it lasted for years. And again, last 5 years, I decided, man, the heck with all that. I'm taking my life back. I'm working on a book that will be published or be out as of next year. I just started working on my health. I started, just appreciating who I am and actually embracing what happened to me, and talking about it and discussing it with people and being open and honest and not ashamed about what happened to me, because it wasn't my fault. I didn't ask for it. So what happens in life is people will do things to you. They'll cause devastation in your life, or they'll cause pain or hurt, and they done with it. They'll walk away from it as if it didn't happen or you don't exist, and you're left, so to speak, holding the bag. And I was the one. I was like, man, I like, again, 5 years ago, I just decided, man, I'm not going to live another. I mean, it had come to a point where I thought my life was worth a piece of crap, and I allowed people to step on me, to misuse me. This was after the abuse, because you think about it, you're a young child, and you're innocent. You're innocent. Your innocence has basically been depleted. It's been taken away. And where'd she go? Oh, she over there. All you want to do as a child is just, you think everybody is you're safe around it, especially adults, especially parents. You think you're safe. You think you just want to have fun and just be happy and eat bubble gum and chew bubble gum and eat candy and go to the park and play. That's your thinking as a child. But unfortunately, a lot of us, it didn't happen that way. It just didn't happen. And that's the card I was dealt. But you know what? That card I was dealt, I've learned to reissue it back out. I was dealt the card, but I throw them back out. Because, again, I just decided enough is enough. So, again, I decided to, because of the things that happen, and as we go in these videos, I'll actually share many details of what happened. I mean, you wouldn't even imagine. You would actually, once you, actually, when I tell you what happened, when I share with you the intricate details of what happened, you'll probably be so surprised. You'll be flabbergasted that I'm still standing here. Like Antoine Fisher said in his movie, I'm still here. I'm still here. And I thank God every day for it. So, my life was a long and tragic story, but I made it. I'm here. And I want to share that with you today, let you know you can do the same thing. Now, if you've ever been adopted or been in an abusive relationship, or you've been in the system and you were adopted and neglected, please share with me your experiences. And I believe people can heal other people. That's what God put us on this planet for. We heal other people. We listen and we hear each other's pains, and we acknowledge and we empathize, and we help each other. That's what this whole world, that's what we're on this planet for. One of the reasons why we're on this planet. So you don't have to give in if you're on the verge of suicide, if you're on the verge of, you think your life is crap because of how it started out, and you think that you're worthless and nobody cares. Don't believe that. Like a song Public Enemy wrote years ago, don't believe the hype. Because you too can recoup your life. You can take back your life. But understand, no one, I'm going to be honest with you, no one really cares. Like, I thought everybody cared. I thought the system cared. They didn't. They had families of their own to tend to. They had their own kids. Why would they want to worry about a little black kid who was shuffled in the numbers like all the other black kids, or even Caucasian? I mean, all types of races and cultures of kids that were in the system, that are in the system today. And we still have a problem with kids dying in these homes that people, families are adopting, they're being neglected, come to school malnourished and because of the home life that they're living. And I'm not saying that every person that adopts a child is a abusive parent. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying with my case, the people that adopted me, they should in no way been allowed to keep any children. They should have had a psychological evaluation before. I guess they do it now, I'm not sure, but this was in the 70s, so I'm pretty sure back then things compared to now it's probably much different, but they should have been psychologically evaluated from head to toe, and should have went through a long period of testing, mental test, and just to see if they were capable. And obviously they were not capable. They had mental issues themselves. So again, just to sum up this video, I want to encourage you to, if you're in a bad situation, or if you're recovering, I won't say bad situation, but if you're in a situation where you had a rough childhood, you might have been in the system, or just even that, just a rough childhood, like nobody cared, you were sexually abused, you were molested, you were physically or mentally, you verbally assaulted and abused, and you went through that from, as a young child, yes, it can affect your life, and it was terrible. But I just want to share with you that you can come back and restore and recover your life that was damaged, that other people damaged. You have to, and also you have the responsibility to take care of you, because no one else will. So on that note, peace and love. Hit me next time. All right.